Hi everybody. I've been kind of preparing um, equipment and everything else for the next term for our students at the American Insurance College, and I kind of wanted to test out the equipment at the same time. Wanted to show you guys a few little things and maybe that could help you guys out um, in photography. And I have a couple of cameras set up. One on my face right now with a stationary microphone. I got another microphone on me that I'm going to be using when I'm walking around. There's a second camera set up on the shooting desk itself with a little screen of capture screen, which the camera is tethered to. And then I have a third setup where you can actually see the screen itself. We can kind of talk about that. So let me switch over to the second setup.
Right here. So you can see the where the camera is set up, and you can see here in the corner, I got a little um, window with the what the camera actually captures. So I have a Nikon D610 with a Tokina 100mm macro. I'm using the SU800 um, controller with SBR200 flashes, which is kind of an overkill for something like this, but these are the flashes I usually use for intraworld, so kind of makes it easy to go back and forth. Um, so I got three flashes. One's pointing on my background. I've chosen blue, and I've used blue over the years actually. And I got two that I'm going to be shooting the actual denture setup with. I got a little reflector on the lens. Hopefully the reflector is not going to interfere with my controller because it needs to be line of sight in order to fire those flashes. These are not radio controllers, which is kind of a downside for something like this. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my illumination of my background. So I have everything set up on my camera, and I'm shooting 1/200th of a second at f/25. My ISO is set 100. You can actually raise your ISO up if you want to save your power on your flashes. I've tried that. Sometimes I kind of get the result I don't really like, maybe a little bit of noise. So I just leave it at 100 and just makes it easier for me. But just something you could do is increase the ISO if you wanted to. So I'm gonna check my focus, make sure everything is in focus. If it's hard to see the subject that you're photographing, especially in the kind of environment like this, I've turned down the overhead lights because I wanted to not have any kind of specular highlights on what I was shooting, and those overheads were interfering. There was too much reflection, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to focus. So you can use little kind of things like this to look at things and make sure you're in focus, and I am. You can use a flashlight, whatever works good for you. So I'm gonna take a picture, and if I switch my screen,
You could see right there that my background is illuminated to a certain degree, right? So because I don't have any front flashes, just the background is illuminated. Um, is it illuminated enough? Probably not enough for this particular thing, but you have to understand the other two flashes that I'm going to be firing, they will probably reflect some more light onto that background. So I'm just going to leave it as is, okay? I'm not going to increase that power at all. And it's actually set to 1/4 power right now, okay? Let's switch back.
to this view, okay, and I already have everything focused. Everything's lined up. So I'm going to take two of these flashes. I'm going to turn them on. And I'm going to show you what it looks like if you just take a picture without any kind of diffusion or reflection and what the results are. So I'm going to reduce the power quite a bit to about 1/8, actually 1/16 even, and take a picture. Okay? And you can see the result. Switch this real quick.
You can see the results. So because the flashes are so directional, the light is hitting on the sides. It's bouncing back onto the background a little bit, as I was saying, but the front is not illuminated very well, and the light is very harsh, very directional. So I need to kind of soften that light up, and I need to kind of wrap that light around. So the easiest way to do that is
what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flashes and I'm going to point them towards me, actually, right here in this direction. Okay, and I'm going to take a couple of reflectors, look like this. They are silver on one side, black on the other side, and sorry, I was out of frame, I think. Black on the other side, and they're white on the inside. So if I take my reflector and I kind of point it like this, so the light bounces this direction, but also to the front of the denture. So like this, a little bit. Hopefully it's not going to block my line of sight. And let's see if this one works as well. And now I'm going to increase my power back to around, let's try 1/4 and see where we're at. So I have everything set on manual. I'm not using TTL. I like to adjust everything on my own, kind of trial and error kind of thing. And let's see where that takes us. So, looks like the light is
wrapping around the denture quite a bit. Okay, and looks like the light has softened up quite a bit as well. And we have some light on our background. I like that. I like this quite a bit. But there's not enough light, and I'm still getting some specular highlights. I might not want to have all of those. So let me do this. Let me increase the light to 1/2 and take another shot and see where that takes us. Okay, so we got a more light right now. And we still have quite a bit of kind of these specular highlights right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these diffusers that I've made. It's just some diffusion material right here. Let me switch my camera view real quick.
okay. So I got some diffusers right here that I've made up. So I'm gonna place my diffusers between my flashes and my dentures. I'm gonna place them in a way that they don't roll away. So like this, okay? Need to figure out a better way to hold these in place, I think. And I'm gonna put my reflector back into place. You obviously don't need to go through all these steps to get the desired result that you're looking for, but I'm just showing you what how different things affect the way you're photographing. Okay. All right. Let's see if this is going to give us what we're looking for. And I'm leaving my power the same because this was a little bit overexposed. Okay. And as you can see right here, let me switch
to the screen right here. As you can see right here, the light is a lot softer. Okay. So a couple of things I'm going to do with this picture. I want to even out the horizon just a little bit because the way that this is tilted is kind of not as appealing as I'd like it to be. Let's see how this looks. So the back kind of makes it look a little weird. Get rid of this here. So let me just kind of split the difference a little bit. So I don't want the back too tilted, but at the same time I don't want the front to tilt it as well. It's a bit problematic, but maybe I can reposition my picture or reposition my denture. So let's do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to the original angles, but I'm going to tilt my work because the way that my denture is positioned is not very pleasant because it's tilting this direction, right? So what can I do to fix that? What I'm going to do is let me remove all of this just so I have things going in the proper direction. And I need to prop up that denture a little bit. Let me switch my camera view.
So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of something that's not going to interfere with my picture, but at the same time is going to work fairly well with keeping that denture in place. So I'm just taking a piece of gaffer's tape that I'm ripping off this little lamp that I have here, and I'm going to wrap that piece of gaffer's tape around, and I'm going to use that to raise up one side of my denture, and hopefully this will create a better angulation. Sorry. It takes a bit of work actually, and it helps if you don't have the camera in the way. So I'm going to move the camera right here. So by taking that little piece of tape, I was able to even out my denture, and now I'm going to position this right here. I'm going to move everything back and reposition my reflectors. Right here. Turn this just a little bit so I have more light going to the front. Good. Do the same thing here. Just turn my flash a little bit. So I got a little bit more light going to the front. And wrapping that around. Okay. Now I'll reposition my tripod with the camera. Get a little closer here. It's looking pretty good. Let's change a little bit on the angle. Alright, where's my light that helps me focus? There it is. I'm going to switch to automatic focus for a minute. There we go. Just going to fine tune it a little bit. And I'm ready to go. Now let's take a shot and see where we're at. Okay, so we're definitely a lot more even now with the horizon. And the light's wrapping up very nicely.
As you can see right here. So it's nice and even at this point. And you see my specular highlights have dissipated a bit. I still have some of them. That helps me a little bit with showing the glare and the glossiness of the work. But I'm having really good results with that. And my tape is kind of holding things in, but it's showing up here just a little bit. I can remove that in post. If I had more time, I would actually probably clean up the tape itself. So, but what I want to do now is one more thing. I want to separate my denture away from the background a little bit. And the easiest way to do that is either with another light source pointing there or just simply reflecting the light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a reflector.
So you can buy one of these reflectors. They're called 5-in-1 reflector. Fairly cheap. This particular one I think is like $10 or something on Amazon. I'm going to hold it just like that, right over the top, and take another shot. And what you actually see it does, it actually illuminates the whole denture
A little bit better and gives it a little bit of that yellowish glow here as well. Okay, so now I don't have to even out my horizon. It's nice and straight. I have good illumination of all my work. I can clean things up a little bit if I wanted to. you know, maybe reduce the highlights a little bit more just so I have a softer light. Maybe slightly increase the exposure. Make things a little bit more contrasty by reducing the blacks. And increase my sharpening just a bit and my noise reduction. Okay, as you can see right here. Another thing you can do is if you look up closely, you got a little bit of dirt somewhere, you can remove that dirt if it's interfering with your image. Okay, but only if it's something that's not on the case itself. Okay, that's usually the rule of Photoshop, as they say. All right, so all in all, not a bad shot. You can do things like dehaze, just like that, so it makes it a little bit more contrasty. You can, oops, sorry, double click on that, take it back. You can increase the whites a little bit, just so they pop a little bit more. You can do a little bit of vignetting, which is also kind of darkens the edges right there. Okay, so all of these things are kind of a nice thing to do with your pictures. But all in all, that's not a bad shot. You get fairly decent results photographing like that. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. And hopefully this has been a not too bad of an experience, and I showed you guys a little bit, and this will actually allow me to fine-tune things a little bit better, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck.